Greetings and welcome tonight to the You Are the Miracle podcast. I am Shan Kramer. This is my better half.
Donald Kramer. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a great day.
Yes, absolutely. And we are so excited to be here tonight because, we've been talking a lot recently about the need for building community. We've talked about how so many of our young people they're hurting. They're not doing as well as they could be. And we even got an event coming up in Raleigh later this year, right?
Yes, it's September.
In September. And we're concerned about our youth to the point that there's way too many who are in severe depression and even to suicidal at this point. And too many have been taking their lives. So, whenever we find people who are working on being part of that solution, we got to let you know about it, because that's our motto: is we want more people getting off the bleachers and onto the playing field.
Yep.
And Miss Dorina is doing exactly that. And I apologize. Our advertisements had a different last name. She just informed me that her last name is now Lantella. So Dorina, welcome to the podcast.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, I use both names. Martirano is my married name. Lantella is my name. And I actually am getting my citizenship in Italy, and I'm over there. Women keep their name. And so I'm Lantella over there, Martirano over here. I said, let's be the same name all over the world. So anyway, not to be confusing to anybody. My hubby doesn't care.
Okay. All right. Well, as long as you know who you are,
Exactly. That's why I just go by Dorina.
There you go. Absolutely. And even Dorina's Kitchen. I mean,
That's
how more unique can you get than that?
Yeah.
So Dorina, tell us a little bit about your backstory. What brought you to creating Dorina's Kitchen and the movement that you're creating?
Well, it started way before I realized, and only, in the recent years did I realize, who I was and where I came from had more meaning than I expected. I grew up in the restaurant business. I've been in the food industry my whole life. I've got 6 kids. So my house was like an episode of Chopped every day for like 20 years. What are we making for dinner really quick? But we always ate at the table. Now, for years, I kind of had this feeling that I was supposed to be doing something else, something bigger, something for the greater good. And I remember saying something to a friend one time. I was like, I know I'm supposed to be doing something. I don't know what. And it used to really bother me. So would pray, God, what am I supposed to do? Tell me. But, and my friend said, oh, you've already done big. You've got 6 kids. And I'm like, no, but something outside of myself. And it wasn't until my last kid was finishing high school that everything started to come together. And the cooking, I've been teaching people how to cook since I was 19. When some of my college friends said, we're broke and we don't know how to cook and it's too expensive and this and that, I taught them how to make pasta sauces because pasta's cheap, So, and of course I was 19. We did it at my friend's mom's house and it was like all day. Now I can do it in an hour, like 20 different things. But anyway, it wasn't until my daughter was finishing school and I had been doing cooking classes and all that, but I started, somebody asked me, because I'm always going to Italy. That's where my family's from. And we have a house there and that's my favorite place in the world. And somebody said to me, why don't you take us? You're always talking about Italy. Why don't you take us? Somebody in some of my classes. So I did an Italy trip, and it was a culinary trip. And I've always taught people how to cook because it's cheaper, it's healthier, it's faster, all that kind of stuff. But the reality of it wasn't until after that first trip, and then somebody found me by accident who was of heritage of my town. And all of a sudden I started thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, my town's got such a story. I need to share this. And maybe that's what I'm supposed to do and bring people together. So the story I'm going to tell you about is my hometown of Roseto Effect, Italy, which I've told you about this story.
Yep.
The first immigrants from there came to the United States and landed in Eastern Pennsylvania working in the slate mines up in the Slate Belt. And, at the time, you're talking 1880s, 1890s. And it was a little difficult for the Italians who were, didn't speak the language and all this. So they were kind of pushed aside a little bit. So they ended up moving off to the side of the town they were in. And they formed their own town. And they named it Roseto after the town in Italy. So fast forward to the 1950s, 60s, the doctor serving the town told another doctor who was visiting the area, who had a summer home there. He said, nobody in this town has any heart disease and a lot of other ailments also, as well as like everything from physical health to mental health. And but the big thing was the heart thing, because it was at the time in the 50s, heart health was going really big time down, and it was a big deal. So they went to study the town. The obvious is, what are they eating? Why are they so healthy? What are they eating? What's the magic food? But they were eating salted cured meats, food fried in lard. They were fatty cheeses. They were smoking and drinking and happy and healthy. And so then they're like, okay, wait a minute. There's something else with these people. What is it? So they studied it further. And what they ultimately attributed it to was the community-centered, church-centered, family-centered life. They said the people nourished each other. And, and it was, they had multiple generations lived together. So, the grandmother might help with the kids while the mom went to work, or this or that or whatever. There was connection. There was help. There was basically lack of stress. They called this phenomenon the Roseto Effect. And the definition, I've kind of modified it a little bit, but it's the phenomenon by which people live longer, healthier, happier lives by the way they live in community. It's all about connections. And today we have no connections. We're such a lonely society. We live in these 4 square walls of our houses. Sometimes you don't go out for days. You don't see another human being except the person you live with for days or weeks. I remember being a young mom with my too many kids, not too many, not enough. But anyway, sometimes I'd be stuck at home because there was no, place to walk. There was no piazza, the plaza, the town square. There wasn't these things, people walking by my house. It's different and it's difficult. And there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. And it's a very lonely I think we've created a very lonely society. We encourage families to move away from their families. We encourage kids to go off and explore and go move to California. I've got 2 in California right now myself, but they're coming back. But our culture encourages it. If you want to keep your job, you got to move to 3 hours of flight away or all the way across the country. And if you want to keep your job, you got to move. If not, you lose your, it's like there's nothing family oriented anymore. And so anyway, so when that all happened, I decided, that's when my back to the table movement came to pass. I realized this is what I'm supposed to do. And that's what I'm doing. So I share it. I guess, for some people, COVID was a bad time. It actually was bad for my cooking classes that I was doing in person. It was bad for my Italy trips I was doing in person, but I started my online cooking show. And it was, I said it wasn't really a cooking show. It was like how I'm teaching how to cook, but I'm teaching you the Italian mama teaching you how to live, and, cause I figured I might as well start playing into my stereotype, the Italian mother, everybody expects us to have the wooden spoon and say, get to the table right now. And nobody argues, nobody argues with the Italian mother. So.
Right. Oh my goodness. So you created a movement out of this that you're calling the back to the table movement. Yeah. So how are you facilitating this happening? What's your vision? Where do you want to go with this?
Oh, wow. Big questions. Well, I'm sharing it every place I can. Like, I think this was totally planned, not by you and me, because you told me that the last email we had was February 2nd. And then I popped up on your phone on a thing on February 2nd now. So February 2nd, 2 years ago to February, I just feel like, and I'm out here seeking to be on things like this, stages, and this is a digital stage. And so this is one of the ways. And so I just think God's got his hands in things. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'll tell you a story about that in a second, but about why I know it's what I'm supposed to be doing. But it's just, I'm doing it by my cooking show, which is, like I said, a cooking / Italian mother telling you how to live your life show. I'm getting out there and doing as much as I can in formats like this. I was on a radio show in New Jersey recently, another radio show in New York, and another one in Pittsburgh the other day, last week. And so I'm trying to, get around here, and I think it's spreading, and I use mostly social media. And then some in-person events, like I'm doing a little event locally here, a health and wellness fair, which this fits into. And so, little things like that. And the people who come on my trips to Italy, it started out as, cooking, and then it became more than that. And it's now part of my quote unquote product suite where if you come with me to Italy, you're going to learn how to cook, but you're going to learn how to live. And you're going to see what that whole thing means in person, how people walk around and connect. We hug and we touch each other. It's not, here, oh gosh, you can't touch anybody, you can't hug somebody, or that's, somebody's going to call the cops. We're huggy, lovey people, and we're healthier. So, what does that say?
Yes. I have heard it said that humans really need like multiple hugs a day just to maintain the heck with feeling healthier.
Yeah.
So yes, I keep wanting to call you Mama Dorina.
No, that is one of my little nicknames. People do call me Mama Dorina. So yes.
Yeah, there you go.
I knew it.
Yep. But I'm going to go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, there's been so many conversations around the people we know right now about the lack of connection in society and how that is playing such a role in just having our emotional well-being being completely destroyed. So, anything that can be done along the lines of what you're doing and what you're educating people about. But if I remember right, part of it is you think the family should be in the kitchen together cooking, right?
That too, I kind of target us moms. I'm a firm believer in my job. I know that I am now an entrepreneur, so to speak. I try not to call it my business. I prefer calling it my mission. So this is something different, but it's still an entrepreneurial endeavor.
Yes.
But I'm not, I was a college athlete. I coached boys in soccer for 20 years, and I was the only woman coach out there on the, these college showcase fields where there's, 40 teams and all men and all 18-year-old men and coach men. And, I've always been, I can do whatever you can do. And if it's something I love and I love the game, then it's fine. But at the same time, I'm a firm believer in the traditional roles and values of being a mom. And I stayed home with my kids. Yeah, I always did something on the side. I catered little jobs. I made cakes for people. I, did different things. I coached soccer teams. I'm actually a nationally licensed level, coach and all that kind of stuff. But so I did that that's a passion of mine. I think playing soccer as growing up gave me my voice. And I think that was what I was supposed to have, because I was a very shy child, believe it or not. But anyway, painfully shy as a kid. But I feel like it's important. Like, I know people who won't get a dog because they're not home enough, but they'll have a kid. And, I wanted to raise my own kids. So I did. And it was a struggle, and it was a challenge, and it was a sacrifice. But I've got 6 awesome kids that I love and who are all doing good things in the world. And I'm really happy about that, so, but, and I, it doesn't mean that, I think it's important. There's women out there who work, and I want to help them because I know it's hard. And sometimes you're stuck in a situation where you don't have a choice. And those are, a lot of times it's really difficult to put that meal on the table and bring your family together when you're out all day working. So some of the things I teach people is, how to set your kitchen up for some of it's the physical things, like setting your kitchen up for success, what's in your pantry, all this kind of stuff, being ready and being able to make it work, setting the stage of the table, make it inviting. You want people to come to it, and then, people don't know how to talk anymore. Like, I don't think people know how to hold a conversation at the table, but there's many studies out there and stuff, but one, going to what you're talking about this, like your event that's coming up, one of the I read one article one time that said one of the top 2 common denominators for school shooters, so now we're getting really extreme here, but it was mental illness and broken families. Well, mental illness isn't always chemical. It's often situational, coming from those families that are, nobody's there to support this kid, or whatever, or see what they're doing. And if you're sitting across the table and you see a kid that's kind of feeling, looking like he's a little glum or whatever, you can say, what's the matter? And maybe somebody was mean to him at school, or I failed a test or whatever, but you can fix those problems. You can invite that kid over for cookies. Sometimes the bully needs love too, and sometimes, getting help, getting a tutor or whatever, or commiserating. I wasn't bad. I was horrible at math, so to tell my kid, yeah, I sucked at math too, let's get you a tutor. Now they don't feel so alone because I just said it was me too. And then I got them help. These are the kind of things problems we can solve at the table. Everything important in life happens at the table. We make all our big decisions. We sit and pay our bills. We decide, we talk about who, what college we're going to, or what job we're going to get next, or, what I'm going to do tomorrow, or my shopping list. Everything's done at the table. And so we need to make that place more welcoming and more comfortable, and everybody needs to come to it.
Well, I couldn't agree more. How do you instruct parents about this kind of stuff? I mean, we know this is playing a role, right?
Absolutely. One of my kids said back, about 10 years ago, because he was 22, so now he's 32. And he held up his phone. He said, "This is the ruination of my generation." And now he's a state trooper and he gives, people tickets, for that. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't think that's what he's pulling people over for. But anyway, my point is that, for me, for example, you got to put parameters on it. So, okay, my whole business, my whole life is around food. So yes, my kids are allowed to bring the phone to the table, take a picture of the food, and they can post it on social later, but then it's got to get put away. Okay, I'm real. I'm being honest, take a picture of the food, but now put it away.
Let's go using your kids.
That's right. Using them. And
you know what? They don't do anything, and they got more followers. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I've bypassed them now, so that makes them makes me laugh and makes them go, "What, Mom?" So
that can be.
No, but you got to make some rules, and you got to be firm. I say to people who ask me all the time, how did you do this with your kids? How did you raise 6 kids? Blah, blah, blah. How did you grow good humans? Because that's a hard job these days. Actually, it's always been a hard job. I am really good friends with my kids now, but I didn't need to be their best friend when they were kids, because they're kids this long and they're adults this long. So I'd rather be the mean, tough mom and wave my wooden spoon around, and their imagination is your best ally. All you got to do is, there's a woman that taught at my high school. She had 11 kids and she wrote a little book. And I remember reading it when I was a new mom. And she said, perfect the glare, get their attention, and then look at them. And she said, their imagination is your best ally, because you've done nothing to them. You don't say anything. You're not hurting their feelings. You didn't beat them up or anything, you just look at them. And apparently, according to my kids, I've got a look. So and I just wave the spoon around. I don't really do much with it, a little whack on the butt now and then. But seriously, it was, really, it was the threat of it that, it's their imagination. You're not hurting anybody, and it, now it's a source of laughter amongst all of us, and now I've got adults that I like hanging out with. And I know people who have grown children and they don't enjoy them. They don't like the people they are. They don't like how, and I was like, well, you created that. You need to, and, I think that, our families, we've got our kids for those first 18 years. It's your piece of clay to mold them into a good human before they go off and they're hardened, and they go off into the world. And we as moms, I think it's the most important job in the world. I spent many years listening to other moms. There was two comments you get when you're a mom who stays home. It's either, "Oh, must be nice you can stay home." I'm like, yo, man, this is a sacrifice. This is not easy. Okay. Number one. The other one is, "Oh, you're just a mom." Now, the just a mom thing, though, you hear more.
Yeah.
And one time years ago, and I'm going to share something that I'm getting ready to trademark, but anyway, I'm going to share it anyway. I looked up I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I looked up the definition of just. Okay. And I found that one of the adverb definitions of just is exactly what is needed. This is just what I need. Just. And that's what we moms are. We are just. We are just the most important person in almost anybody's lives, the mom. We are the first molders of those humans. And if we, don't put the time and effort in, because that time is so short, it goes so fast, time is like poof, disappear, and now my kids are getting married and I'm like, oh my God, it's crazy. I don't have any grandchildren yet, but I'm waiting. Hint, hint, children, whoever's listening. Get married. So I'm waiting. But it's really, really important to be proud of who we are as our job, our role as the creators of humans, that to make good humans. So
I would agree. Well, and I will give credit to my better half here too, because there is something to be said about being able to have a full family around the table. There's far too many households that are single parent these days. Yeah. And, there's definitely things that our kids need the benefit of learning from both parents. They really do.
Yep. So, and when that's possible, you need, tell you a funny story. So, are you Italian? Can you cook? Will you marry me? Those are the first 3 questions my husband asked me when we first met. Okay. And, little did I know. I mean, I'm sure I was in the food business, but I grew up in it. And, I was Italian with a grandmother who taught me everything. But little did I know how important that question, that can you cook thing, was going to last. The food thing was going to last in my life. And there was a point in time, we got married, we had our 6 kids, life's going good. But we had a family tragedy. And, I don't usually bring up what the family tragedy is, but because we're talking about what we're talking about, we unfortunately had a suicide in the family. And, on my husband's side, and it tore us apart. And the grief, the grief and the depression that ensued was horrific. And so we ended up separating because we were just in a place. And, through that time, after the initial little rough patch, he came home every Sunday for dinner. And I truly believe, aside from prayer, because that was my number one lifeline, but that Sunday dinner with our family around the table was one of our lifelines that kept us going, And so, of course, we're back together. You saw him come and help me try to fix my microphone. He is my number one. He is my champion. He is my best friend. And he is the best dad I know. He's sometimes I think he's a better dad than I am a mom, because they all call him, because, I had to be bad cop and he was always good cop. But anyway, that's okay. I know they love me. They just think he's cool. He's cooler than me.
Food always wins.
Food wins, right? Yeah.
I bring him to the table, but he keeps them there talking and laughing and goofing off.
I love it.
So I do think it's truly important, that table. I've seen it in my own life. Not just I did this my whole life, so therefore it's better. No, I saw the breakdown of it in my own household, and I saw the rebuild of it because of the tradition that we always had. During that time when I was in my own depressed state, and sometimes I look back and I'm like, me depressed? Because I'm not a depressed person. I'm a constant seeker of joy. But we all go through something. Everybody goes through something. Everybody's got a story, and unless you can open it up and share it. And where do we share all this stuff? Guess what? At the table. We share our troubles. We share our joys. We share our fears at the table with the people that we know and love and trust. And that's where we get our support network,
It's true. It's true. And I'm so grateful that you're bringing this to people's attention at this time because it's so necessary. I know a long time ago you spoke to my friend Darlene Satori, and she's actually watching you here tonight.
Oh, good.
And she says, as the family goes, so goes society. And I think that's absolutely the truth. And I also noticed on your email that you had a interesting Bible quote here too that I loved, and it says, "Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares." From
Yes.
Hebrews 13:2. That is a beautiful thought for us to consider closing out here tonight. Dear, did you have any final questions?
Yeah, I got a good question. How can people get hold of you?
That's right.
Well, I was just gonna say, you know, I have a freebie. Maybe I can type it in here.
Freebies are good.
If people would like, I have a little free download of 5 recipes that can get you started getting your family to the table.
Okay.
So let me see if I can type it on here.
Please.
Okay, let me
You're
see.
talking food, please.
Yeah, Don wants the recipes.
For you.
He's gonna put me to work.
Put you to work. Okay.
Okay, let's see if I did it right. Dorina'sKitchen.com/recipes. There we go. If you go there, I think I can put it in the. I think can I put it in the
I'm trying to put it here too. Dorina's Kitchen.
Yeah, I can't put it in the
.com/recipes.
Yes, Dorina'sKitchen.com/recipes. So if anybody's interested in just following any of my social media, if you Google Dorina's Kitchen, you will find me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and my girl who does my Mariana, my second daughter, my daughter's best friend from high school, that she does my videos, she does my editing for me, even though I'm married to an editor, but he does my videos too. But anyway, she keeps bugging me, you got to get on TikTok. She wants me to hit the younger generation, which I really want to do. So supposedly we're going to start the TikTok and the Instagram reels and stories and all that. You know, I'm good on Facebook and some other stuff, but anyway. But I've got all kind of recipes and videos and all that stuff on all my social media, and on my Dorina'sKitchen.com regular. That's my website. You can find out just a little bit about my mission, a little bit more about the Roseto Effect, because my mission is the Back to the Table movement, but I'm trying to revive the Roseto Effect. So it's kind of like a double mission. Yeah. And on there, I have some recipes written, and I also have all about my trips to Italy. So if anybody wants to go on a trip to Italy and you mention this, I'll have something special for you.
Ooh, good deal. Well, I will definitely make sure that I go. The YouTube channel should have your link on it right now. And I'll make sure on Facebook and LinkedIn that your link is there as well. And anywhere that you've shared it, if you can go ahead and put that link in the comments, that would be a beautiful thing too. And hopefully we can have some people enjoying some of Mama Dorina's recipes.
All right.
Well, I really, it was really a pleasure being here, and thanks for just letting me babble on. I appreciate it. But I hope that your mission and my mission, I know they cross over, and you know, I look forward to doing some other things together. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, and thank all of our viewers. We've had comments from different people and different people watching, so that is an awesome thing. If you like what you're hearing here tonight, please comment, like, share this video around. Help Dorina move her movement forward, because we want more people coming back to the table, building their families, having more connection and more communication. You know, these do not have to rule our lives. That's a choice. And it's a choice that that we've been making in ways that I think may have not been as helpful to us as they could be. Yeah. So let's do something different. Let's get back to the table.
Yeah. And if people out here like this time that we're having, tell everybody else about it. Tell your friends.
Absolutely.
Bring them to this.
Yeah, please.
Every Sunday, we're going to try to bring you someone exciting like this young lady.
Thank you for calling me young. I love it.
With the young mom was 6 kids. It's a good
That's
thing.
it. Yeah.
She got
Kids that
started
are
real
grown.
young. All right. Well, thank you all for watching tonight. We'll see you next week again on You Are the Miracle. And we want to hear from you if you're doing something to be a change maker in this
Have
world.
a great day.
Have a great one, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.